Hey guys, do you ever see those games in frames? Those companies that sell you kind of a disc and a case in a frame? It's cool, but it's a little bit too expensive for what you get. They're very small. So what I've planned to do today is make my own. A bigger one, a better one, with everything included for a very nostalgic game from my childhood, GTA Vice City. So I hope you enjoy watching me build it, and I really, really hope you enjoy the final result. Please let me know in the comments what you think. So, San Andreas on the left, just disregard that for this video, maybe we'll do one in the future. Let's focus on the two on the right. The one on the right is the Platinum. It's got a silver disc that's really ugly, and I don't like the case either. It's not how the game came out originally. It came out like the blue one in the middle. Problem with that one is, it has the perfect disc, the beautiful disc with the girl on the front and the logos and everything, but it didn't have the map. But the silver Platinum one did have the map, so I bought both. I'll trade one back in. So a bit of a mismatch, but as you can see from the prices there, not a big deal. Okay, let's go. I'm going to put the dimensions of the board on the screen and also the dimensions of these four lengths. They're 2 and 2, so 2 different sizes. 2 making up the edge of the frame and 2 on the front. Alright, so time to inspect the board and begin some sanding. One side is a lot worse than the other, but even though it's not going to be visible, the back or the front, I'm going to just give it sanding, and I'm going to give it paint as well in a moment. You can see here on screen what I'm talking about. One has the map and the ugly disc, and one has no map and the lovely disc and the tour guide. And San Andreas has both. That's why I purchased that on the same day, just by chance. They were inside in the CEX shop, or KEX, whatever you want to call it, in Ennis, County Clare. So let's have a look at how we want this to line up. I don't want the poster side, I want the map side. Just so much nostalgia from looking at that map during the gameplay back in the day as a kid, and also looking at it physically in the disc. I'm going to change around the orientation of the disc, the case, and the tour guide / book multiple times, but I do end up going with, I think, the disc on the top and then the tour guide, and then I have to sync the game's case into the, not so much the board, but the foam that I'm going to put on the board, just for clearance for the case and the frame. So you see here, guys, I'm putting the first length. I'll put the dimensions on screen here, just testing to make sure I have enough clearance. One is going to go on the side and one is going to go across the front, like a regular picture frame. I will like to just say framing stuff is really complicated. I don't do it beautifully. Quick cameo from the puppy. Whoop. There he is, always watching. Cute as a button. Okay. Gonna give this a quick sand. Really doesn't matter how flat it is. Can't even remember what those stains are. The one on the left is a little more severe than the ones on the right. But I just like to start off with a blank canvas, get things as smooth as we can. It's a high grit sanding disc because it's MDF. This one, as you can see, has been used as a backboard for spray painting. I think I was restoring weights, an old set of weights I purchased and had to restore them, so that's why it's like a disc. So give this one a good sand. This side is actually a bit flatter than the other side. Now, a few years ago, I would have just started painting willy-nilly and get it everywhere. I do end up spilling some in this video anyway, but I just got a little backboard there, just some cheap ply, just for the wood. You'll see the finish on the front of that tin is satin. I didn't like it once it was on, so I did get a smaller tin of matte afterwards, which you'll kind of notice later on in the video when it goes from like kind of a glossy satin to matte. Glossy must be very glossy because the satin is glossy enough, to be fair. Nevertheless, time to just get a coat on here. If I have to cut into the foam enough, then obviously the black is going to be re-exposed. So I'm just going to give this a quick lick of paint. Perfect, that's looking good. I'm just going to grab a couple of screw cases here just to elevate it, just so I can paint around the edge, which I did. Then the kids started giving me a hand. If you're doing a project like this, if there's something that's safe enough like painting, I would suggest slowing down almost to a standstill and just let the kids get involved. They need to be able to do things and help provide value, show value. They just have so much happiness around that. So slow down your project and let them paint terribly if they need to. Although the girls are quite good. They painted all 4 of those for me, so that's good. My impatience led me then to break out the heat gun and just give it a bit of a head start. You don't need to. Just let it dry and cure for as long as you can. Great, so just going to paint the back side of it now. And now time to get the foam on. You know, I could have returned it and maybe bought a wider one, but I just said, look, the map is quite big, the seam is not going to be seen that much, and then the picture is going to be on the wall itself. If you're looking for it, you'll find it in the end product. But I just, you know, it's my first time doing this type of thing, so I just want to crack ahead. I bought it off Amazon as well, so I'm not waiting a couple of days for the shipping over here to Ireland. So I just went with it, and we'll see what happens. I used a scalpel set, as you can see there. It's just got it in Aldi or Lidl, one of them, before. The result here looks rough. It does look rough. I used the heat gun off camera to kind of relax the seam a little bit, and then the edges are kind of a little bit rough. The scalpel didn't work amazingly well, so a little mistake on that. You're looking at this now probably and thinking, oof, that's not going to look good. But with the frame and the way the frame is going to be set, you won't even notice it because there is some overlap on the front. I used the backboard just to measure out the size of the frame and cut them to length. So very, very easy to do. Those are the taller ones, the wider ones I should say. And then I just use those to mark the exact same lengths into the shorter pieces that would be on the front of the frame. And once they were all cut, just give the edges a quick sand. Do not round the edges, keep them as kind of flat as you can, hence the kind of way I'm doing it there, just into the flat table. And then I use panel pins. I mean, you can use screws if you want to, just for this type of thing. I'm going to have wood glue, and panel pins should be enough as well. Next came a little tricky bit I didn't really anticipate. I thought I might just go, you know, horizontal across here, but you can't if you want the frame to kind of come in the same dimensions on each side. So you have to cut 45-degree angles. Take your time at this. It's very, very easy to get it wrong, and I did end up with a couple of gaps, so I had to put a little wedge in, which you'll see in a moment, where I'm cutting off the edge of a wedge. Wood glue, panel pins, make sure it's all lined up perfectly before you hammer them in completely, so a little tap on each and straight in, and go all the way around the edge, so the length and the width of it. And here's that little kind of gap filler, wood glue and a little wedge. I had to glue in, wait for it to dry, fill it, glue it and fill it, and then just give it a sanding. Quick test fit on the frame. The frame kind of gets banged around a little during the whole process, so even when everything is put together, I do give it another coat of matte just to go over the panel pins and stuff like that. And just time to reorientate everything again here, just to make sure I'm happy with what way I want things to sit. The reason I've been so pernickety about this is because with the game case, I have to actually cut into the foam, so it has to be a final position, to be fair. The dimensions of the frame itself, I could probably make it a little bit smaller next time, or make it fit a little bit better, because there's a bit of clearance on the bottom and the top when it's finished. So I'll keep that in mind for next time. I just saw the MDF board that was in the garage already cut perfectly square and said I'd use that, so, you know, not perfect. Here I'm using a scalpel to take the foam out. The glue had set, so I had a bit of a moment trying to get it out with the chisel. Then I just gave it a quick lick of paint over it and put, which you'll see in a moment, I cut out a bit of, not cardboard, but kind of, I suppose, paper bag, on top of the paint and just stick it in, just make sure it's nice and clean. So the game case itself, if it ever came out, it's not actually stuck onto it with paint and glue or any other nasty stuff. Alright, so onto the game case here. I almost just put it into the frame, forgetting that there's definitely some sticker residue going to be all over it. So the sticker remover by HK, I think it is, it's really, really good. We used it on the windows for the house when we built the house, because it's covered in stickers when it comes. It's amazing, it really is amazing. So it's what is it, isopropyl alcohol, I guess, something like that. But it really shone it up nicely and brought it back to almost new, I guess you'd say. And then it was just time to press it into its new home, and that just gave me some clearance between the game case and the frame, so when glass is to go in, it should press up against it nice and firmly, to be honest. So that's how it's looking so far. I really like it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Some people will like it, some people won't like it. Some people I've showed already in real life, they're like, okay, it's a game in a frame. What is that? What's that concept? But for me, it's very nostalgic game, especially with the map and the extra pieces you get with it. I got glass cut. I went in for Perspex thinking it's cheaper than glass, and it's just not. I went into Ennis Glass. I'm from Ennis, County Clare in Ireland. I live in that area. The guys in there were so cool, so sound, just so normal. I always put off projects like this in the past because I think, oh, I don't really know what I'm looking for. I don't really, you feel like you need to walk in there with confidence and know what you want. But I was like, hey, I just brought the frame in. I was like, I'm not a carpenter. I couldn't even tell you how square this is. I think it's square enough. I'm making a frame basically. And it said, do you want picture glass? And I says, what? How much is that? €15 for picture glass. And it says, you know what? For €20 you can get 4mm glass, and it's way stronger. So it's like, 20 quid. Okay, definitely. Because you never really know the cost of these things until you go and actually check it with the local producer. So I said yes, left him the frame. 1 hour later came back after walking the dog, and it was in the frame, fitted lovely. So I was like, so happy with that. Amazing. 4mm glass. So that's a little bit thicker as well, so it actually applies pressure to the contents of the frame inside. So after a lot of cleaning and making sure there's no fingerprints inside the glass, it's time to put it into the frame and then flip it over. The backboard could have flipped over into the glass, but I chose, because there's a lot more moving parts on that, to flip the glass onto the backboard. This was a scary moment. So I made this video sometimes at daytime, sometimes at nighttime, hence the different lighting changes. This is a moment where I really started to get excited, so nice. Put in some panel pins from the side into the backboard, so now the frame is fixed, really fixed onto it. It can come off, but it's pretty fixed on there. These are flush clips. Got some flush clips in Screwfix for like €3.50, got 10 of them, so that's kind of as flush as you can get. I'm going to mount them onto the picture, and then I'm going to actually drill them into the wall in the office where the image is, where the picture is going. So throughout the making of it, the back of this got scraped up quite a lot. Not important, it's going to be against the wall for its life, but I did give it a quick lick of some paint as well. I went back to the satin paint because I had so much and just kind of whacked it on the back. I used a straight edge piece of wood to line these up and screw them in. I put 4 screws in it, 4 short screws, may as well if the screws are that short. And I just kind of shamelessly spread this paint around. I was being really neat around the flush clips until I hit it with a paintbrush, and I said, you know what, I'm just going to paint over them. So I hate to see that when people do that, but I did it. Shoot me. Heat gun again, just to help it to dry up and cure a little bit. And then what I did was I installed the other flush clips just so I could get a good measurement. So here's a little tip or a trick you might use. I just got some masking tape and I just aligned edge of the masking tape that's closest to you and the camera, I guess. Make sure that's straight across and with tension, and I just stuck it to the other side as well. Cut off the roll of masking tape itself and just used a pen. I mean, you can use a pen or a pencil to draw the holes or just poke the holes through. The objective of this is then to bring it into the wall that you're mounting it and just stick that up on the wall. You know you have the perfect dimensions, but you still need to make sure it's level. So excuse the messy office. The picture on the left of the house plans, it was just kind of stuck up there because there was a nail in the wall or there was a screw in the wall. That's where I'm going to put this, but I'm going to use different screws, of course. I'm going to keep some space on the left because I'm probably going to do, I have PS1, PS2, PS3 and PS4 to go into as a display case, and it'll probably be a horizontal display case, so that's going there. Quick tip or trick with the masking tape: stick it on your level like this, kind of half kind of on and off, and then fold it back, and as you can see, all I have to do is make sure my level is level, and then push with my fingers on the masking tape all the way across, make sure it's perfect, and then just kind of peel away your level and make sure it's all perfectly aligned and flush. And that's, you can't go wrong basically if you do this method. I don't do it a lot, but with flush clips there's no tolerance for being a millimeter left or a millimeter right. It needs to be perfect. So hopefully this little tip helps you. Some of you are probably really experienced and this is very obvious to you, but you know, I was in a place where this stuff wasn't obvious to me at one point as well, so hopefully it's helpful. This is a hammer action drill, so just gonna drill in. I think I drilled all 4 on each side. No, I think I just did 2 and 2 because that's more than enough. I mean, the picture is heavy, but it's not insanely heavy either, you know. So once you're putting roll plugs into walls, you're safe enough in terms of strength. So put the roll plugs in, install the flush clips onto it, and then peeled off the masking tape as well. Drilling holes into walls, especially painted walls, I always use masking tape anyway. Just 2 layers of masking tape, and it just keeps the paint around your holes really kind of tight to the wall, you know, just so you don't get blowout around simple screws and walls. So another little tip if that's any use to you. Nice. Alright, here we go. So it's kind of moving around a little bit, isn't it, guys? And just kind of as close as you can and just see if it kind of fits in. So it kind of clicked in straight away, and I was like, I think I might be in one or not in another. No, I'm in both. So I was in both. Took myself out and put myself back in there. And that's kind of how it looks, guys. What do you think? I'm going to have some footage from my phone as well as my camera. This is my camera. And then I'll switch to the phone because I had it on a gimbal. But like, I love this. I probably would have made it a bit shorter and kind of even around the edges, all 4 edges, instead of a lot of clearance on the bottom, but this is just so nostalgic to me, and I always wanted to buy a game in a frame. I've seen companies do it, but they're just too expensive. Not too expensive, but are they worth that when you can just make something like this yourself, you know? Yeah, I love it. I'm so happy with it, so let me know what you think. Next up, I guess, the GTA San Andreas one, guys. Subscribe if you want to see that. Thanks a mil.